asking them. Accountability, Mr. President. I know you have your men here in this platform. Why don't you offer us the what we deserve, the accountability that we have been asking for? I urge it in every one of us. Let us not be in despair. The time is now, and the time to act is now. We will not kneel before tyranny, and we will not surrender our dreams. We will reclaim Kenya, and so let everyone rise. Tomorrow I'll be rising. Rise for justice, rise for freedom, rise for our future. Together we are unstoppable. Together we are the revolution. Together we are Kenya. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I can see there is an online comments coming, and a lot of people asking why we are not reading your comments. I'll sample a few of the comments on the comment section. I think we have Ben, guys, keep the good work. And then we have Hunter who says the removal of the president on ground of incapacity is not only constitutional imperative, but also necessary to safeguard to prevent situation where leader incapacitation compromises the stability and the security of the nation. Free our brothers and sisters. That is from Kesho. And then we still go to Hunter. It reminds that the office of the president is not a personal fiefdom, but a sacred trust that must be exercised in the best interest of the nation. It is our duty as citizens to hold our leaders accountable, upholding its fundamental human right by exercising our constitutional rights to peaceful assembly, protest. We can collectively demand an end to abduction and other forms of violence or whatever. Thank you, Hunter. Over to you, Redemptor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dinda. Dinda, it's your chance to speak. Dinda, you can unmute your mic, and if you're not available, we have John Mark.
Thank you so much. I hope I'm loud and clear. I want to appreciate this opportunity to be able to give my submission, and honored to be amongst all of you.
I am available.
Okay, Dinda, kindly
I'll take the,
allow
I'll
John
take
Mark.
the mic after. Okay, fine. I'll take the mic later.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Abdi and Hilary, thank you very much for hosting this session. My submission will be very short. We first have to start with lest we forget. I think one life lost in Kenya is one life too many. And for too long, the politicians and I won't call them leaders because they don't behave like leaders, will focus on politicians. The general direction of the country has been there's no value for the Kenyan life. Tomorrow definitely starts a new journey, and a journey that I believe is going to be successful for this country. Dawa ya mtu unampatia ile dawa ambayo anakupatia, and I think an economic shutdown is the way to go for this country. Our children are suffering, our mothers are crying. I can hear the cheers and the cries of fear in many, and it's unfortunate for a nation that has got so much potential that this is where the citizenry have been driven. Mine is very short. Nataka tu kusema kwa yote tuweke Mungu mbele na mtaniitikisha. I'm not being tribal, but I am born a Kikuyu and Kenyan first. Tuseme sote thayo, thayo, thayo. Let's lead it with peace. Let us speak peacefully. We don't even need to shout anymore. Kenyans have spoken enough. We know where the pain points are. We know what is needed for this country. We just need to get as many people out as possible. Gain the momentum. If we focus on 3 very, very critical roads, Mombasa Road, Wayaki Way, and Thika Road, in the city or within the major roads of the city, Langata Road, Jogoo Road, and Ngong Road. Why am I pushing for this? We need focus and we need effectiveness in what we are doing. And if we scatter people, it then gives us, you know, a spread out, notation of people. But if we can bring people together into focus, and be able to push through, as Mr. Ndegwa is saying, the force of the churches. Thank you so much for putting that, because that is what he used to get into power. Let us also use the churches. Our churches come out, the bishops, the cardinals, the leaders of the church, come out in your uniform. Let him show us that he can go against even our children. Let's take our children out. It's not just Gen Z, they got us moving, but we have the Gen Alphas. Little children are talking about what they feel. They are feeling it. They are there. It's in the air. So hata akituita mapepo, hajakosea. Mapepo iko. He's fighting a spiritual war. And that's what's leading us. Mungu yuko, God loves this country. Let God protect us. Ruto will go. And it is time. Let us keep focus. Let's not lose momentum. Let's keep moving. And as I said, in everything and in every step that we take, Mungu mbele and God protect us. We are fighting for our nation. We are fighting for our children. We are fighting for the future of this country. Thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, John Mark. Dinda, you can go in.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for the space. Thank you for the mic. I just want to air my views. I'm saying this is the right time for us to stand out, stand up and do what we need. We believe is rightful for us. We are not begging for justice in this country. We are not begging for a good governance. We are paying taxes so that we can have the best that is belonging to us. We need good governance. We need justice. We need to uphold the rule of law. So we are not doing all these things because we hate somebody. Not at all. That is what should go to the ears of the government and everybody and the president. We are not hating anyone. We are just fighting for our space. We are fighting for what is rightful for Mwananchi. We are fighting for the same Mamboga they were telling us all along. We are fighting for the border, for the vulnerable, for the elderly. Yes. So we are not begging for justice. We are not begging for all these things. We are going for the street. Justice. We need the rule of law to apply from mtu wa chini and them. Not that the who fear the Lord.
Sorry, Linda, you are missing you a bit. Kama ni mimi, sijui kama ni mimi peke yangu. Your mic is going on and off.
Okay. Let me check the internet from my end. Yes. Am I audible now?
Yes, go on.
So what we demand is, actually, we are not begging for justice. We are not begging for all these things we are going for the street to demand. We are demanding for all the things that we need in this country. Now, these people have taken advantage of Mwananchi, of us, the vulnerable, watu wa chini, by doing what we call divide and rule. They are doing divide and rule in political affiliations. That is why they are taking regions with the, let's say, Central Kenya, Nyanza, Rift Valley, so that they can push and divide people. They can just divide people. So when you tell somebody about what you are demanding for, why you are going to the streets, they are saying, they will tell you, no, hii vita si yetu, hii vita ni wale wengine. It is not our fight. This is ni wale watu wengine, sisi yetu. So I'm asking myself, ukiuliza mtu kama huyo, okay, so when it is your time to be kidnapped and maimed and killed, you will go to the streets alone as a tribe, or you'll need other people. We are not looking for tribal cocoons and anything that will tell us that hii ni kabila fulani. Sisi tuna fight for what is rightful for us. So that is what I'm saying, that hawa watu watakuja na mbinu zote za kufanya divide and rule, political affiliations, na kuleta hii card wana pull ya tribal emotions. We are above all that, and they should know that we are above all this. Hatutakubali kuwekwa kwa misingi ya ukabila. Sisi basi tuko tuna Mungu moja. You know, God created all of us. God did not, it is only that tulijipata, kila mtu alijipata place yako. Lakini we all belong to God. We are all God's children above the tribe. Sasa hawa watu wamejua vile sisi wananchi wanatupiganisha. You see, you are saying that sisi tumepewa hii kitu. Tuko na CS, tuko na nini. And you know this, the same person mwenye anakuambia hivyo, mtoto yake mtoto yake anakosa karo, anafanya all that. So I am putting it clear from the what we'll do tomorrow. It is all about to block all these major roads in let's say in Nairobi. There is a place, Ngong Road. The best place I can tell anybody who is coming from that area, I know even the NIS and police, they're here. You see the junction, which is connecting barabara ya kwenda Ngong, kurudi Tao, that is connecting to Gitanga Road and Naivasha Road. That is a very good place. We will start it from there. We'll just begin it from there. When you wanatoka Jogoo Road, you also take your part. I know Jogoo Road is always on top. When you wako Thika Road, we will have to see what you can do. When you wako tunasemaje, Waiyaki Way, you know what Waiyaki Way does. We want to see that 100 times. Then we want to do it as it has never been done before. We are not happy going to the streets. Actually, it is not a sport summer show. I'm flexing muscles. No, we are just tired. Umera, yani shida ndiyo inatoa mtu kwa nyumba kupeleka streets. I'm telling you. That is a fact. So these people, they should know that we are not going to relent. We are going to do what is rightful for us. We are not children of lesser God. They should listen to us. The same way we are the voice of God. Yeah. They should mock God. They should not mock God. Hawa watu. Leo najua walishinda makanisa. And I'm happy because the church have also are also fighting for the justice of wananchi. Yeah, that is, I've later have seen it. So I want to urge everybody, the church, the civil servant, any person, human being, so long as you're breathing and you're paying taxes, these things, so long as you have shift share and all that, please, we should come out. Kesho tuende kwa barabara. Kesho hakuna kuenda shule. Please tell your teachers and kids, because it might, for the safety of them, because we know these people watakuwa narusha tu tear gas, and in fact they are the people provoking wananchi, watakuwa narusha tu tear gas na marisasi. So for the safety of kids and walimu, please, you can rest. Thank you so much for the space.
Thank you, Dinda. Ni kama kengele yangu amsikii. Thank you for your submissions. Then we'll go to Dodge Talk has dropped. In which you came kindly, I think. Misiko.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mine, I just want to say that I'm very much disappointed by this government of Mr. Kaongo. Now it's not Kasongo because it's okay with Kasongo. So it's now Mr. Kaongo. One, I'll say that we are the people who started this, and we are the people to finish this. We should not expect someone else to come and finish it for us. Inatuumiza sana. Wenzetu saizi tunaongea, hatujui wako wapi. Tumepiga kelele, tumeongea sana, but at the end of the day, these people are not telling us exactly where these people are. Anasema maskari ndio wanashika watoto wetu, yeye ausiki. Yeye kama Mr. Muongo, kiongozi wa nchi ambaye ametuangusha, amechukua hatua gani? Hakuna. Najua kwa hii space kwa askari na wasikie, wanaona vile wanarukwa. Time will come, they'll pay for what they are doing for us. Tomorrow is a day for us now to get out and show these people that we are tired. Tomorrow is a day for us to get out and tell these people we want to know where our people, where our brothers, where our relative, where our fellow freedom fighters are sleeping from, because it all started when we demonstrated against the finance bill. And I just want to remind you guys who are in this space and those people who have been coming from Andamano. Guys, when we occupied parliament, it wasn't peaceful. For those people who entered there, that was a war. We fought to get in there and they listened. It's another time that we have to fight and tell these people they should not continue abducting us. They should not continue killing us, because we have all the rights to live in this country, na tunahitaji tulindwe na tukue protected no matter what. And we also have the right to call it out when it's wrong. So hawezi to threaten, hawezi tuzia uoga ati tunasema what is right for us. No, we should not accept this. Tomorrow ni maandamano. I believe I've just said we are more than 1,000 plus in this space. If tunaweza tokea at a 90%, we will win this war. Two, I feel like hii peaceful maandamano wamekuwa kichukulia advantage. Just to remind you people, when Baba was having demonstration all over, it was chaos. And that's why he took advantage of our peaceful maandamano, na saizi anajoy ride, wanapiga siasa ya kushinda EU, which tunajua hezi enda mahali. I believe, tukitoka kesho, how are we going to block these roads? We are blocking these roads with big stones. We are blocking these roads with tires burning all over, so that when they're throwing tear gas, we're also burning tires. So that at the end of the day, we will have achieved the successful maandamano and things will come to standstill. Because kids wanachukulia for advantage, wanajua watakuja, watasimama hapo na tuchupa maji, and then siku ishe. Ikifika saa 10 we go home. So wamezoea. So they have got use of this. Tomorrow we are blocking all roads. How are you going to block these roads? We kama uko na taya yako mzee, tokea nayo. Tuzibano on the road. Kama uko na mawe, to block hizi barabara. If you're saying you're going to block this,
I just want to be clear that we are not advocating for any violence. We want to be decent in our discourse. We want to be fair, and we want to do things in regards to the constitution and law of the country. Thank you for your submission. Over to you, Redemptor, to the next speaker.
Yes, thank you very much. I think you must understand that if we encourage this kind of conversation, we will be blocked from holding spaces, and we will not have an opportunity to keep doing this. So, Frederick, make your submissions. I'm sure there are forums where you're discussing strategy. What we do encourage is people can protest. Peaceful protests are protected by the Constitution. Frederick?
Yeah, thanks for this opportunity. Mine is to urge on, like, we should be all united. We should never allow these politicians to hijack the movement, because they are hijacking this movement for their own personal gains. That's why they are supporting the government by all means. They are starting blaming the other regimes, and yet this regime is the one that is failing this nation. They are abducting us, they are killing innocent people, yet there is no one. And yet we have the opposition government that should be at the forefront to fight for the rights of Kenyans, but they end up joining the government to continue oppressing others. That's not the way we should be. But let us pray for this nation, let us pray for the movement, and all in all, God will do something. Thanks for this opportunity. Good night.
Thank you very much, Frederick. Honorable Mix.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, mine is tomorrow's priority is to demand this man actions to reduce the abductees. That is one. Secondly, he must resign and allow us to be read by readers who uphold the rules of law. The readers who knows that abductions of our fellow colleagues is illegal and a crime against humanity and against our future. I'm also urging the church leaders to guide us, either from forefront or behind, to rejuvenate this nation. Tomorrow is a must. We go home with our brothers, the abductees. We cannot go home without them until we have them with us. That is when we are going to withdraw our effort to liberate this nation, regardless of how much fear they attempt to install in us, Akina Sudi, Akina Mukomen, and others. I remain steadfast and resolute, and I am determined to always move forward with courage and conviction, refusing to retreat in the face of challenges or intimidation. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A very strong punchline. Benson?
Hello, how are you?
Well, thank you.
Hello,
Continue.
gentlemen, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the chance, Redemptor. I've been waiting honestly to have a chance to also submit my request, or rather submit my opinions on this debate. I've watched keenly as every speaker goes out and gives across their point, and you can hear without wanting to repeat what every speaker has said about the calls for justice. You can hear the calls which are being echoed are calls for, decency. They are calls for liberation. They are calls for ending impunity. I've been lucky to sit around some people who discuss policy, and one thing you will notice about discussing policy also calls for equality. But something is turning out differently with this government which is currently in place, and that is to do with maiming, silencing critics. You will notice there's a lot of talk about how we are going to, bar this community from accessing power. There's a lot of talk about how we are going to bar that community from accessing resources and all that kind of thing. That doesn't resonate very well with the call for equality. And maybe speaking towards tomorrow's cause for justice and, liberation, I would want you guys to reconsider something called civil disobedience. Civil disobedience is like what you're seeing currently happening in Korea. They have slowed down the economy to the extent that they've marched to where the leaders stay, and they've said, you know what, you need to leave office now. Why? We need to slow down that economy. I'm sometimes tempted to envision a situation whereby we would have a situation where the businessmen came out, the church leaders came out, the doctors in their white gowns came out, the people from downtown with their kabutis and their dust coats came out and said, you know what, these taxes are becoming too much. The nurses, these people who clean the places, the street workers, the kanjus and everybody came out in their whatever and said, this is too much. It's getting out of hand, and in an end to slow this to slow this economy, it would be a win-win for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd want you to know that some of these initiatives are for something called imaginary gain. They have no immediate gratification, but with time, they always have that, meaningful impact. This government has been, has shown itself as a government which is very tactical. They denounce us at every, possible opportunity. They send leaders to come and, shove things down our throat. We call them out for things which are not working. I've been following cases of people complaining about SHA, but the government is quick to say, it's working. I was even asking myself the other day, we've had 3 or 4 regimes. Nobody has ever attempted to change the system from NHIF, I don't know, to SHIF, and then from SHIF to SHA. Nobody. Kibaki government didn't. Neither did Uhuru. Moise didn't. It's been that way. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't need to change. Maybe time, it was time for that. But it came so fast. And then to make matters worse, it's not working. So, ladies and gentlemen, I won't be very long, but I'd want us to remain resolute. I'd want us to work together. I'd want us to hold hands and know that it is our business. It is our country. We cannot ban our country, as Milton says. We cannot ban our country, as all the other speakers have said. But I would want us to say this with a resounding voice, that we are fixing our nation together. We are going to fix this nation. So I beg to rest, and that is my humble submission. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think who was speaking? Was it Sly? I'd asked Benson to go, and then I have Rose Seco. Benson. Then I have Benson is not there. Rose Seko, kindly take the mic. Was I being hard at Benson to speak? And if Benson is not available, Rose Seko, followed by Collins. So I do not see Benson unmuting his mic. So kindly, Rose Seko, karibu sana. All my speakers, can you hear me, Abdi?
Yeah, we can hear you. Seko can't hear you, maybe.
Yeah, we can hear you, Redemptor.
So Collins, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you so much, host and Redemptor. It is so nice to be here. I think all of us Kenyans, we love peace and we love unity. As much as we are losing our brothers and sisters in such kind of abduction and many things that are going on, we are not happy. We need our country to be at peace. We need religious leaders to mean business. They tell our government something is wrong. They tell our leaders something is wrong. They should not condemn something today and tomorrow they be found in State House. Then they start telling us that we give the current regime time to work. We need the government to stop whatever is going on, because young people are dying, young people are disappearing. Where are these people? The government is telling us that it's going to work on it, but we are not seeing any response. Coming tomorrow on streets, you'll find them wakirusha tear gas, you'll find them splashing water on them, and yet people are there demanding for the right, because we are not applying. We don't need violence, and we don't need people to steal. We just want a peaceful demonstration. As long as the government can come out and tell Kenyans what is going on, that's what we want. And if they can let these young people to come out, they just release them wherever they are, because the abductors, they are known. If the government want these people, they will just find them in next 1 minute. But we are not happy at all, because you can hear whatever Oscar Sudi said today, and whatever the Kamket MP said, Kamket said here today. It means they don't care. Whatever is happening is none of their business. They are not worrying. And because their children hawajashikwa or watoto wao wajapotea wako safe, so watoto watu wengine hata wakiumia, wakipotea, wakiuawa, it's none of their business, which is not good. We want a peaceful Kenya. We want a Kenya where young person and older people is respected. We want a Kenya where you can listen to my view, I listen to your view, and you have to stand when I do what? When I stand and nikikataza nione kwamba whatever you're doing it's not right, you should not come for me. In fact, you should know why are Kenyans complaining about this. Then you make a change. But whatever is happening, we are not happy about it. If Kenyans we are coming out tomorrow, we should demonstrate in a very peaceful way. And we should be as peaceful, because this is our Kenya, this is our country, and we all want peace. And government should know that we all want peace. What we want is our brothers and sisters, wherever they are, to be released. That's what we want. Thank you, Redemptor.
Very well said, Collins. Rose Seko. Abdi, maybe you can invite her. Maybe she can't hear me, but she could be hearing you. So invite her, or Benson.
Rose Seko, can you hear me? Benson, can you hear me? I think we can go to the next speaker, Redemptor. Jonathan, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
can you hear me? Thank you, Abdi, for giving me this chance. For me, let me speak in Kiswahili. What I wanted just to give my opinion as well, because hii serikali imeshika youth the young one, the student that's supposed to be in there, maybe in the university. Also, my opinion is just to also those university leaders or president of the university also need to waambie wale wanafunzi watokelezee pia nao for a demand for their fellow colleagues, because it's very painful for our parents to hawezi jua watoto wao wako wapi, na hao wengine viongozi wetu wanafurahia na kusema ati hao watajua hata wakipewa, kwa mfano kama Sudi vile ameongea, angepewa that chance wote siku 3 tungenyamaza. Na ajui power belongs to the people, and when you read about the history of the different countries like Lebanon, the other countries, watu power has given them power by voting them in to serve us, not to make us to suffer. So we need also to show these leaders that we have power. Si tumewapea mamlaka watuongoze na wanakuja kutumiza baadaye. As well as concerning tomorrow, we need also to come out in numbers, na sio kusema tu na tuogope. Let us come out in numbers. Kama ni vile tumesema njia zote zifungwe, wacha zifungwe. Hakuna mtu kuingia town, hakuna magari kutembea, kwa sababu kesho ni wanafunzi wanarudi shule, wapate kujua economy irudi chini. Thank you for that chance.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. We appreciate you. I've seen new speakers. I think in Kenya, I see Professor Kivutha Kibwana. Let me allow Mkenya to speak first, and then we'll have Professor Kivutha Kibwana.
Thank you so much for the chance. Thank you, the host, the co-host. Mine is to say this. Nimeona there are so many politicians who are sitting on the fence. Uko unaenda unachukua bahasha yako, on this other side you're behaving like you're one of us, and I would like to call hawa si wote wenye wanafanya hivyo, it is not good to play those kind of games with Kenyans. If you know you're not fully supporting the movement, good governance and abductions, kindly refrain kumake statements zenye zinafanya uonekane kama you are supporting the abductions movement. Leo uko State House, kesho you are the person who is calling out the president or whoever is Kina Sudi and whatever. It's very wrong. Now we are noting it down. Amwezi kuwa at this stage we need to know who is joining, nani anatojoin huko kwa streets. Don't come telling us you want presidency and you cannot be the first person kukua pale kwa mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha ya kwamba this thing is successful. We are not going to sahi hatuta push mtu to presidency. You have to earn it. And there is no way we are going to give. The last time we made a big mistake, kukapea mse populist, muongo. We want action. And if you want a governor position, kwanza governors, they should be ashamed of themselves. It's only 1 or 2 governors who have stood against abductions. It's only 2 senators, na hao wengine ni hypocrites. So let us, if you want our votes in the next election or in the near election, unafaa kuwa front line kesho. Hatuwezi kuwa tunagojea tu sijui baba ya nani ati ni yeye anatuongoza kufanya demonstrations. We have to create another group of leaders who are willing to put their lives so that they can defend life and they can defend the constitution. Thank you so much. Nasalimia hapo, mkuwe na mwaka good year.
Thank you. Asante sana. And I also want to acknowledge Honorable Abdikadir Ore, who is on the space. I know you're joining us, and I know this pain deeply resonates well with you. I know it is hitting home. We are missing an MCA from Dela Ward, Honorable Yusuf in Wajir. You're welcome to pick the mic anytime. I also want to welcome Wanjiru. I see her on the space too. Anytime the mic you can pick up. Thank you so much. Welcome also Honorable Ore, and we would love to hear your submissions. Over to you, Redemptor.
Yes, thank you very much to all our viewers. Sasa nakaribisha Professor Kivuta Kibwana. Sorry, I wanted to ask a question, but go ahead, Professor.
Good evening, comrades. I was just listening. I am in a bit of bereavement. I lost my sister, and we are burying her next week. And so I wanted to listen more. Maybe I will not be able within this week to do the things that are necessary, like as a lawyer, to be part of, tomorrow and so on. And since we shall rest her next week, after that, I will be available as always to do what must be done and what we have done historically. Maybe I will say some things that might be controversial. I think it is possible that the system does not mind some of the demonstrations that are going to happen because it is hoping that the demonstrations will, go on, and sometimes if the intended result is not achieved quickly, the system thinks that the people will tire and the demonstrations will fizzle out. Because there are some who say there was the June demonstrations, then for some while they fizzled out. So I think some of the bravado that you can see being exhibited is like this idea that they have been advised, I would imagine, by NIS, that some demonstrations in other countries take place and then they don't, the people get tired. They get tired, they get fatigued, and to start them again, another round of demonstrations so that they also gather momentum takes long. So I think there's the possibility that the system is saying, okay, so long as we can control them for a while until the people are fatigued, they're okay, and then we will be good to go. I'm saying this because also it is necessary to accompany demonstrations with other activities. For example, even in these spaces, we are saying what we will do. And of course, when you say what you will do, then you are forewarning the state. Unless it is something that is planned, so that you say something in the public space and you do something else which has been planned elsewhere. And that has happened in some instances in revolutionary situations. But when you are able to say that this is what we'll do, of course, you are using it to mobilize your constituencies or constituencies. But at the same time, if everything that is to be done is out there in the open, then of course the state is forewarned. Where am I driving to? I want to suggest that demonstrations are good because they exhibit, and this has happened from June, they exhibit the rage, the anger, the dissatisfaction of the people. But this is just one part of what one must do to ultimately be able to get to the canon. What is it called? Canon that we want to go to. And that is why there are certain groups which are very, very critical in this work. When you look at and I will talk about the judiciary, that question was asked to Ndegwa. You see, there is a lot of frustration in the system and by the president that up to now he has not captured the judiciary. Because if you capture the judiciary, then it means that anybody who is taken to court, like happened in the one-party state in Kenya, the judiciary decided the way in which the executive wanted. And therefore, when you go, for example, demonstrations or you do things that are challenging the state, then you would be very quickly taken to the judiciary. It was a conveyor belt, and you'll be dealt with. Even if you are detained without trial and then you went to court, habeas corpus, then again the courts would reject. So the state, the president is very unhappy that at least there are voices within the judiciary which challenge the things that are done and keep on giving decisions that the state is uncomfortable. And let us not forget that when the president came into power, he was able actually to swear in a surplus of judges that the former president had refused. And maybe he thought that was a way of courting friendship with the judiciary. But later realized that the judiciary was not playing ball. So we need to actually do what is necessary to embolden the judiciary, to protect the judiciary, to also tell the judiciary, as somebody said about administrative mechanisms and so on, to make the judiciary also clean whatever, whether it is 2% by Biguna, whatever that is. If the judiciary collapses and the legislature has collapsed and the executive is on top of them, will be on top of them, the independent officers and constitutional commissions also are comatose, then and the security, the police particularly, are captured, then there will be, the country becomes a banana republic. Those failed states. And even now, if you look at the criteria for failed states, we are going there quite quickly. So the one thing that I'm saying is, even as we have demonstrations, we must ask, what are these other allies that must be strengthened so that they're on the side of the people? I think one is very happy with the diaspora, because the diaspora has come out and the diaspora is involved in the discussion, the diaspora is involved in ideas and so on and so forth. And that again is another important ally. The faith sector has been tentative. The mainstream, particularly the churches, and of course there is the Muslims and there's the Hindus and so on, African traditional and so on. But we have seen the Catholic Church, the ACK, the other mainstream churches. We have seen them realizing that they helped the president come into power, and then the things that he's doing do not accord to the doctrine that they support. But we also see them, we see him continuing to go to church every opportunity, and sometimes to focus on the non-mainstream, so that again he has a bit of that segment. So when we also see that happening, we have to again strengthen the relationship with the faith sector that is supportive, like in the 90s. Although during that period, the faith sector in its totality, Christians and Muslims and Hindus, were very, very forceful. But we must not again let the president capture the faith sector, particularly in its totality. Again, the X Spaces, the social media has been very, very, very active, and actually to a large extent up to now an important backbone of the struggle. And the mainstream media, whether it is Nation, KTN, Citizen, we hear there's a bit of trouble in Citizen and so on. Again, it's important to again make friends with a lot of that media, radio media particularly, even vernacular media, or indigenous media, whatever, so that these ideas are amplified, and these ideas go into the WhatsApp of wards, of sub-wards, of everywhere in the country. The professionals, we have seen the Law Society and we have seen the doctors really coming to help during demonstrations and getting involved in them and so on. And if you look at countries where there's been a critical challenge to a runaway state, those professionals, when they begin, and even this happened in the 90s, when these professionals begin to join a movement, then that strengthens the movement. And of course, we know that the youth have been the basis of not only the Gen Z movement, this movement, even as we say also it's Gen Zote, but this is also what happened in the 90s and also Mau Mau. So that's another critical element. And there has been talk of also mothers joining in. And this, the doctors, the lawyers, other professions, whether they're engineers or whether they're whoever, have to come in. And I heard Alan Namu saying that where is the private sector? Because the more the state deteriorates, they can't make their profits, and that's why they are going to Tanzania, they are going to even Uganda and stuff like that, and the middle class. So I think it's very, very important to realize that demonstrations are a trigger, and they become very powerful when you have sectors that are together and that are saying that enough is enough. And even I would go and say we need to encourage everybody who is related to a police person to talk to them and tell them that they don't have to annihilate relatives, friends, fellow citizens, and so on, so that there's a quiet conversation, so that every relative, every spouse, every father, every mother, we talk to these people and say, what you're doing is not a good thing. We have seen that there is this attempt to get the Mungiki to be another force. And if you see that happening, it means that even the police are getting tired. The army is not sure. So again, those young people have to be talked to, so that they're told that you can't you can't get involved in a situation where it's young people like yourselves who are disappearing, who are being abducted, who are being killed, and so on and so forth. So I think critically, and some of what has been missing, is the unity of those who are against the current regime. Because if people continue to work in silos, and people who are progressive, people who are different from the leaders we have had since 1963, if they don't work together, they are also postponing the solution, and they're actually jeopardizing. They are jeopardizing, like, the young people who are daring, who go out there on their own, whether there is this cohesive leadership, and so the fact of disunity actually endangers those who are even trying, like in these spaces, on the streets and so on, trying to make change, make change to be possible. So for me, I think that it's very important to identify now and to call this opposition, the progressive, the people against what is happening, to come together and to have a convening to have a convening January, February, by March, so that happens. Because, for example, now suppose tomorrow the government was to fall. So if it fell tomorrow, who would step into it? So even when people say Ruto must go, yes, but then who now replaces Ruto? And do the people see that there is another group of leadership, so that they can say, whether it's also the international community, but more importantly Kenyans, so that they can say, yes, now we must do what must be done for the final push, so to speak. And within that leadership, these young people, the new generation of leaders, so that from MCA up to president, you have this new thing. Because previously in this country and also in Africa, you have young people pushing for change, and they succeed, like in the Arab North, in the North Africa, and then still the old people come back who have been playing opposition. They come back and things don't quite change. So and also critically, there has to be a message which resonates, a message of what is going to happen, what is the change that is going to happen, what is that rallying thing. Because yes, we are saying to end abductions because that is a symptom of the bad governance. We are saying Ruto must go because that is a system of the bad governance. But what is it that you're saying to people? This is what will happen. Somebody says we must fix our nation together. The constitution must be implemented. Freedom to our youth and country, whatever it is. You have to identify, like when we said no elections in 90s, no elections, no constitutional reform, no elections. No reforms, no elections. Something that was very dear, to people then. So again, that is necessary, and that's why one is thinking that if one studies what has happened elsewhere historically in Africa and other places, one will realize that there's this cocktail of things that have to come together, so that therefore what people are involved in is not something that can easily abort and also cost many lives, cost people's freedom, and so on and so forth. And so as I learned, I'm saying that it's really, instead of looking for employment for young people, we abduct them, we kill them, we negative them, we minimize them, and that is the very opposite of what people do, even within a household. Because I would imagine in everybody's household, they want their kids, to do better than they did and to be in a good space. So I'm just thinking that a clear message, the unity of those who are, who want, real change, the identification of these other sectors which must be brought on board and which must be properly coated, so that really now there is a convergence, of this force. Otherwise, Sudi will tell you whatever he wants to tell you, Kimani will tell you whatever he wants to tell you, and people will disappear. And at some point, when these things come together, then you insist that those who say they're leaders, including the faith people, must be at the forefront of the demonstrations, the mother of all demonstrations. And that's when change beckons. Change becomes a reality. But I think let me go bury my sister, and then we'll be back. I yield, and thank you, Hilary. Thank you, Redemptor. Thank you, Abdi. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Milton. Thank you, all these great people. Mukenya, Daima, Ndegwa, who was here, gallant, lawyer, versatile. Thank you very much. And we ask the judiciary, please, those small things that are happening there, also deal with them, so that some of the things that you're being told are no longer an issue whatsoever. And I learned, and Happy New Year to all of you, and all the best going forward.
Thank you, Professor. Go ahead, Redemptor. Thank you, Professor. And before I yield to you, Redemptor, I think I will say Happy New Year and thank you to the Professor for his submissions every time. Thank you again. Over to you, Redemptor.
Yeah, we're sending our condolences, and may our soul rest in peace. We will invite Bonnie Mangi now to make his final submission.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Well, it's always a pleasure to listen to Governor Kivutha Kibwana, whose ethics and patriotism is beyond reproach. I wanted to close off by reminding Kenyans that in a democracy, it is the citizens who have rights, not the government. The government exists to serve us, the people, not to rule over us. Our government, as much as it doesn't appear to know this, gets its power and its mandate from us. When it fails, we have every right, indeed a moral obligation, to hold it accountable. When we criticize our government in places like this, it is our right. In fact, I would argue it's our duty as citizens to hold it accountable and criticize it. Today, we are facing a government that has abandoned its constitutional role. It stand against its own people, abducting people for no reasons, holding innocent citizens incommunicado. Our parliament is doing nothing. The Constitution is sacred. It is the foundation for our democracy. And there's no important thing or action that we can take today, in my view, than to hold our leaders accountable and remind them that our Constitution, the rights under the Constitution are non-negotiable. We can't negotiate our rights in a democracy. And so I call upon all Kenyans to demand that every person that's missing, every person that's held by this government is released. We must call our parliamentarians, we must call Parliament, all your MPs, your MCAs, all your senators, we must call them and hound them until they understand how important this issue is. Until that happens, we must consider shutting down all government business. And I mean that with all seriousness. This country shut down in November to deal with one man, the impeachment of one man, and that whole thing did not solve anybody's problem, but we shut down government for a whole month to deal with the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. If we can do that, what must we do to guarantee safety of Kenyans, to guarantee the release of Kenyans who have done nothing wrong? We should do 1,000 times more what we did in November. And so I'm saying there should be no parliamentary business, no state budget discussions, no agenda should proceed until justice is served and we see these people released. So please call your MPs, your senators, tell them that the time has come to impeach this president. If he's not going to act as a law-abiding citizen, law-abiding president, if he's going to tell Kenyans that their rights are not unchecked, that they have constraints, that they can be controlled by government based on how it feels, that we can only use our social media when we are not criticizing the government, when we are saying positive things about the government. This is a total misunderstanding of our social contract, and we must call the president and parliament on this issue. So please call your MPs, please call your senators, protest peacefully. I'm not calling for any violation of laws. I'm saying we must shut down business, but we must do that within the law. Call your MPs, protest, go to parliament. Let's do what we need to do to make sure that this issue remains an important topic and at the minds of everybody within our country. We're not powerless. We can solve this issue. Our constitution guarantees us the right to protest, to demand change, to defend our democracy. We must do this. This is what we have to do. So this is our moment. Let's rise, let's exist, and reclaim our country. Thank you, and God bless Kenya.
1 minute, please.
Who is asking for 1 minute? Would you kindly, Engineer Evans, I will give you the mic. Kindly allow Dr. Milton to make his submission, and then I'll give you the mic. Dr. Milton?
Today I have a heavy heart, and I want to make my closing submissions by saying this. Right now, I am being attacked for carrying a message that many people don't have the courage to say in the manner and as openly as I have said it today. That when it comes to the abductions, this government may have taken the lives of majority, if not all, the abductees. And I'm getting all manner of backlash by gatekeepers of the regime and apologists of the William Ruto aristocracy. But I have no apologies to make for saying that until we have the courage to say and repeat those words, that the tree of liberty is constantly watered by the blood of patriots. And what I have said today, the reality is that unless we have the courage to face the reality that this regime is not just oppressing our courageous young people exercising their rights, it is also killing them as a way of instilling fear, and use that reality to increase our fearlessness so that they lose their power, then we are as guilty as the oppressors. Standing in the middle, indecision in the wake of any injustice is guilt by inaction. And I want to say this: over the last 24 hours, yesterday, we have Ian Singoe, who we are told, after disappearing for days, that he has drowned. Today, over the last 24 hours, John Mudhoni was found dead. Jacqueline Nyambura was found dead. George Githinji was found dead. An official of the IEBC, same fate, all in one day, only hours after threats were issued by people close to the presidency, saying they will come for our young people. And then somebody attacks me for saying that majority, if not all, our young people who have been abducted have been killed. I will say it again, and I will use it as a clarion call to demand that the Kenyan people now come out. The mothers who have carried these children for 9 months and seen them grow, going through pain, having to work and to toil and moil to provide for these children. The family of Billy Mwangi, the families that are facing all this trauma because of a regime that is averse to being asked for good governance, and a government, a regime that has no regard for accountability. That should be the fuel that calls upon the Kenyan people to turn up in large numbers tomorrow and say, enough is more than enough. William Ruto and your UDA brigade must face justice. And we are also saying that we will not stop speaking truth to power. We will continue until this regime falls. And if the only fear, the only card that will be thrown at us is the morality card, is the respect card, then I dare tell the young people that those two do not constitute anything to make you fear, because what you're asking for is inherently yours. And somebody that is killing you, abducting, and oppressing you has no respect, has no moral authority to talk about morality or respect when they themselves cannot grant that. You can never ask for what you cannot offer. It is a very simple principle, and it is one that the people of Kenya must rise up and say, this is no longer palatable and we will take it no more. I want to conclude by stating as follows. Fellow Kenyans, they will blackmail you before they finish you by making you their slaves, by using the very privilege of exercising power that you have given them to turn it against you by using something called Stockholm Syndrome, where you start to feel sympathetic to the same people who are oppressing you. That is what they are doing. And I want to tell you that the only way to send William Ruto home and free the Kenyan people is to send them home through maandamano, because that is the language that this government understands and no other. And I want to say this: if we feared anything for our country, it should not be who takes over after William Ruto and his regime falls. We should be afraid about the future of our country and the future of our children and grandchildren and the generations that come. We will never have peace in our graves when our time comes if we are not going to stand against this oppression. When a people stand together and summon the courage of their forefathers and believe in the protection that comes from the divinity of God, they will defeat those people. And I dare tell you, our greatest fear should never be who becomes our leader after the fall of this regime, because God has already ordained someone that will take over. And we have history replete with examples where when the people wanted to liberate themselves, they did not think about who gives them justice, because the God and the divine authority that gives them the courage to defeat those oppressors and dictators already has a plan in place. And we should be able to be motivated that by that faith in the divinity that created Kenya and put us in that great country will give us the direction and the way forward. Right now, priority number one is that we must stand for our lives, we must stand for our country, and we must stand against the oppression. Because if we don't do that, even that leader that we are thinking that will take over after William Ruto will have no country to lead, because it will be gone, the people will be dead, and there will be nothing but dry bones. I leave it at that point because I'm getting emotional and I'm likely to lose it. I want to tell you, fellow Kenyans, no one is going to fight for us this battle. We are the only people who can stand up against this autocracy, and we are the only ones who can determine our destiny as a people collectively. Let us turn out in large numbers wherever we are in our little big way. When you believe and when you are genuine, whatever you touch will turn golden, because it is anointed. It has that special power of divinity that can only happen when a people come together in genuine pursuit for justice. Thank you, fellow Kenyans. Let's continue. Aluta continua. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Let's continue this engagement on X and every other platform. Reach out if you have anything you want to say, and we will say it. Because if we don't, then, just like somebody said, if you don't talk, then you're as good as dead, and afadhali haungezaliwa. Asanteni sana, Mungu wabariki. Sorry for ranting and going back and forth. Thank you.
No, thank you for the freedom to express yourself is found here. And I think you are a media practitioner and you do your investigations and you have your connections. And so if you have information, you censor it because you can't just spew it. So I would like you to ask the person who is attacking you to just show us where they are. That's everyone is speculating that. And that's why people are saying, okay, we need to deal with it. We need to know what we are dealing with. Because before I give the engineer Evans to speak, I just have a very simple question. Where does this regime get their power from? They either got it from people, from God, or from others. And if they got it from the people and from God, they can revoke. Those two can revoke. But if they got it from others, maybe others are lying to them about how powerful they are. So I'll allow Engineer Evans to speak. We are just about to end the show. I'll make my final submission, then hand back to my co-host and the host. Evans, Engineer Evans.
Thank you, Redemptor, for this time. Hope you're getting me. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, go
I want
ahead.
to start by previewing. Yes?
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you. Let me brief by beginning from the collapse of the parliament. When we elect these leaders, these MPs, we began as the power belongs to the people. And the power itself, at this point, it is exercised under the parliament, of which it has messed up, it has collapsed through its enforcement by the presidents, whereby the chairs of the committees are correlated from the State House and later endorsed in the parliament. Now, on that note, instead of being the watchdogs or the opposers to the executive, indeed, they are the sycophants to the president. When we talk of the term democracy, the democracy we fought for it is the same democracy we are fighting for it now. And it is high time that we are calling for the government that he has. And it raised the question, do we have a government that hears Redemptor? Of which no. It's high time that when we say Ruto must go, it's not about something tribal. It's not something about pain. But I myself, I come from the region where William Ruto himself come from. You find a point whereby the term disappearing people just started in America. There were cases in Argentina. There were cases witnessed in Chile. And now we have in Kenya. If we listen to them, that is to enforce this term disappearing people, whereby they abduct, they arrest, they kill without our consent, without our power. It means we are now starting a revolution that's not only on a season, but we must execute as per the democracy. It's about that we move on to ensure that we achieve. Besides, today we are calling for the abductees. We must end this regime whereby when we call for the government that he has, it's not about Evans should be in the government. It raised the question to me that you find the leaders who are very close to the State House, who are very
Okay, it's like we lost the engineer. Okay, Redemptor, go ahead. You have to wrap. Redemptor, you can hear me?
Sorry. I have a very brief question for all those men who go to church who have been speaking to us, spilling all manner of things to us. I heard the president pray on New Year's Day. So the president has to decide which laws he will abide by. If it is the laws of God, and you keep saying children are from God, if you are a person of faith, then you do not have children. Those children were given to you by God. So you're hurting and you're taking the lives of God's children, not our children. When you tell us to talk to them, they are not our children. We handed them to Serikali, they were given IDs. And this is how you treat them. And so I'll finish with something that I'd written, and may it inspire some of you in your circumstances. And it says there are people who did not make it through high school, but they were educated in the school of hard knocks. Enough lessons to graduate in life. The academics, the academic giants who cannot relate with the artistic minds. They cannot fathom the creativity outside the box that is academic guidelines. But they've learned to coexist and respect that they are able differently. There are people who copy-pasted the social norms and got into unions such as marriages. And then they exited, some with their heads held high, no needs for explanation, no excuses. They chose themselves over societal expectation. There are those who overcame and became warriors, wounded warriors, and those who are healed to heal others. And then there are those who failed to come to terms with their adversity. They lived as victims at the mercy of the powerful, the oppressors, and the abusers. There are people who have faced crossroads and they have chosen vocation over career. And these are the people we are seeing who are doing activism. There are people with green hands. Everything they touch grows. And then there are those who are created, who are able to create wealth. And the last group of people are people who should never, ever get power. They get drunk with power and they forget who they are. And I think that's where we are today. This was a contract with the people. And they're saying, we will do what we want, no terms, no laws, no rules. We make the rules as we go. That is totally unacceptable. And I wish every Kenyan, as they face 2025 in very painful circumstances, I wish them strength and I wish they embrace their nationality with pride. And if we find out they've hurt those young people and all the words that they have used, there must be a court where we can take them. You can't just hurt people and there's nothing that can be done to you. So if you have faith, please believe in the divine, that they cannot kill all of us. Some people have said, oh, be careful, they will hurt the people you love. These people we love belong to God. So if you touch them, you touch God's children. And all of us will die one day. So please do not threaten us with death. And all the wealth that you have, one day you will leave it behind. Because just the same way I have a destiny with death, so shall you face your own mortality. Thank you very much to all the main speakers, Ronyo, for always being on this show, the Hunter, Professor Kibwana for coming even when you're bereaved. Dr. Milton, I feel your pain. I know you have information that is really hurting you, and we shall digest it as it comes. Bonnie, for the work you do exposing the thefts in the counties, Abdi for always prepared, always being prepared for this show, and Hilary Gondi for your courage and grace to continue doing this for all those months. Thank you for trusting me also to navigate in these conversations. And I do this because I have decided it's not a career, it's a vocation. And if I die doing this, there will be hundreds and thousands of people who might get inspired by the courage I face, because I have children, I have grandchildren. So if you think you're going to scare us with the inboxes and all these images of dead bodies, we've come to terms with dying, and we will die courageous. We will die proud that we did not have to kill anyone to live. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Redemptor, for your submission. I think now, as we close tonight's space, Let's carry with us the resolve not to let fear dictate our future. What we have discussed today is a stark reminder of the challenges we face, I think, but also the immense power we hold when we stand united. I think the abductions we witnessed are not just attack on individuals, but on the very foundations of our freedoms. Yet we are not without hope. Our collective voice is stronger than any force that seeks to suppress it. Let this be a call to action. We must continue to speak out, advocate for justice, support those who have been affected. Uh, Step up. We each of us has to step up, no matter how small, contribute to a larger movement of resilience and change. I think we will not be silenced, and we will not be let these dark days define us. I think together we will keep pushing for a future where our rights are upheld, where safety is guaranteed, and where no one is left behind. Thank you for your time, your voices, your commitment to the cause. The fight continues. Let's remain vigilant. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for joining us. Over to you, Hillary.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nitin.
Always, it is
I have been
pleasure
a victim of the same.
to
Abduction must
host
stop.
you here as pressure
And
point.
let's pray for
Yeah,
those
engineer, I'm talking. You had a mic. So when you want to request a mic, that's why those emojis are there. And it is important to do that. Otherwise, thank you so much, guys. It is important to host you. And Prof, receive our sincere condolences from the pressure point team and from all of us as Kenyans, and wish you well. And when you're going through this, and even other people, and we are demanding that the people who have been abducted, we need them live or dead, but we need them. We want to see them. That's what we are demanding, and we'll not be afraid to say that. And guys, let us do what we do, wherever you are. We must push all this for our rights. And going to the roads, it's our right. Go to the road, be peaceful as much as you can, but demand rights in every corner so that we can achieve our goal. Thank you so much. Otherwise, keep alive, follow each other all the time. Until again we meet. On Friday, we'll be here from 7. We have a special space on Friday, then on Sunday, as usual. So thank you. Keep alive. Make sure that you follow each other when you're on the road. Let us know where you are. Keep tagging people wherever you are. Be safe as much as you can. Don't be alone. Be 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. Take pictures, take videos, post them. Let us know what is, and we'll make noise as much as we can. Otherwise, have a blessed night, a blessed morning, a blessed day. No matter you are, till we meet again. Thank you so much for coming, and we really appreciate your presence all the time. Bye for now.